Welcome to EasyEuge, the channel to help you to learn maths super easy, super fast. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining all about decimal place value and decimal points. So let's get started. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click like on this video. And make sure that you watch all the way through to the end for question of the day. Here we have a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have put a decimal point between the 3 and the 4. And let's talk about what changes that decimal point has made to this number. So very simply, this number on the left hand side becomes more significant than the digits and the numbers on the right hand side. So everything on the left hand side of this decimal point goes up in value, and everything on the right hand side of the decimal point goes down in value. Let me show you. This number is now 123.456. So this 3 represents the units. We just have 3 singles or 3 units. This 2 are the tens. Okay, so that's 20. So we have 2 tens. So that's a 20. And the 20 plus the 3 is 23. And this 1 then are the hundreds. Let me write that down for you. Hundreds. There we go. So you can see that this is 1 of those hundreds plus 2 of those tens plus 3 of those units. So this is 123. So you can see the further away from the decimal point you get, in this direction going left, the value gets larger. So after the decimal point, this 4 is then 1/10 of a single unit. So we have 4 of those. So that's 4/10 of 1. It's 0.4 of 1. It's not fully 1. If it was, we would add it to the 3 and that would be 124. But it's 0.4 of a 1. 4/10. This next number here, the 5, is a 100th. So it's got a decreased value. And we have 5 of these, so that is 5 hundredths. So it has a very small impact on the overall number. And this number here is a 1,000th. Super small. So if you broke a number into 1,000 pieces and you only had 6 of them, it would be a very small amount of change to the overall number. So what can you notice from this 123.456? What we can notice is that when we move away from the decimal point in this direction, we start with units and we multiplied by 10 to get up to tens, and we multiplied by 10 again to get up to hundreds. So every time we move a decimal place, it goes up by 10. And after the decimal point, it's 1/10 of a unit. And every time we move a decimal place, it goes down by a factor of 10. So that's 1/10, 100th, 1,000th. So if we had more values this way, they would continue to get smaller by a factor of 10. So the decimal place value is really important. Where that decimal point goes determines the value of the number. Now let's look at the value of numbers now that we know about the position of the decimal point. So the first example here is, which number is bigger in value? Is it 12.34 or 123.4? Let's write them down. So 12.34 is 12.34. So if I rewrite these and keep the decimal point in the same place, let's see if that helps us in any way. The next number is 123.4. So what if I make that 123 point, keeping the decimal place in the same place, 0.4. Now you can see the top number is simply 12.34. So that's 110, 2 units, 3 tenths, and 4 hundredths. So 12 essentially is quite a small number. This number here is 123.4, and that's 4 tenths. So you can see by the position of the decimal place, 123.4 is bigger than 12.34. So the answer is 123.4. The next example is which number is smaller in value? Is it 1.234 or 1234? So what if we write that down again and keep the decimal point in the same place? Let's write 1.234 and we write down 1234. Where's the decimal point? Whenever you see a number without a decimal point in the number, it's at the end. It's 1234.0. So let's write that down. 1234.0. So keeping the decimal place in alignment, just to compare these two numbers, you can see this number is 1.234 and this number is 1,234. It's a lot bigger than this number here. So the answer to the question, which number is smaller in value, is very simply 1.234. So always in these two examples, look out for where the decimal point is, and if you don't have a decimal point, it's simply at the end and you add a 0. Question 3. Write these in order of the smallest to the largest. How many numbers have we got here? We've got a 4.25, a 4.12, a 4.01, a 4.21, and a 4.10. So they all start with 4, I can see that, and they all have a decimal point just after the 4. Okay, so we need to look at the next decimal place, which is the one after the decimal point. So we have a 4.2, a 4.1, a 4.0, well that's quite low, a 4.2 and a 4.1. So the smallest so far is 4.0, because this one's 4.2, that's 2 tenths, 4.1, that's 1 tenth, 4.0, that's 0 tenths. So that's the smallest so far. 4.2, that's 2 tenths. 4.1, that's 1 tenth. So my first answer is 4.01. So let me write that down, 4.01. So that's that one. I can see we have a 4.12 here and a 4.10 here. So the 0.1 and the 0.1 are the same in both decimal numbers. So we have to move to the next decimal place to see what its value is. And we want to go from the smallest to the largest. So 4.12 compared with 4.10, 0 here in the second decimal place is less than 2. So the next smallest number is 4.10. And I'll strike that out. Then we can take the 4.12, and when we write it like this, we can see that this is bigger than this one. 4.10 is smaller than 4.12 because this number has an extra 2 hundredths, a little tiny bit more. So let's strike that out. What's next? 4.25 and 4.21. Now you know if the decimal places are the same in value, we'll move to the next decimal place. So this one's a 5 and this one's a 1. So this one goes next. 4.21. We'll strike that out. And then we're left with 4.25. Let's write that down and we'll strike it out. So we've used up all of our 5 numbers, and let's do the check. The question was, write these in order of the smallest to the largest. So we have 4.01, so 0 is quite low. Then 4.10, that's bigger than this one. Okay. 4.12, that's bigger than this one just by the 200ths. 4.21, that's bigger than 4.12. And 4.25 is bigger than 4.21. In the next example, we will write these decimal numbers in order of the largest to the smallest. So we're going to go the other way around. So I can see straight away by looking at all these numbers, this one's quite large because it's 120. So let's write that down as our first answer and we'll strike it out. So let's come down through the numbers. We've got a 1.2, okay. We have a 12, well 12 is bigger than 1, so that's next. We have a 0.12, well that's smaller than 12, and we have a 1.25, well 1 is smaller than 12. So the next biggest number coming down the way is 12. Let's write that down and we'll strike it out. So we're at 12 now. Let's keep coming down in value. We have 1.2, 0.12, and that's definitely less than this one. And we have 1.25. So here we have another example where the first decimal places are the same value, 1.2, 1.2. But this one has another 5 hundredths. So it's a little bit bigger than 1.2. So this is the next largest number, 1.25, and we'll strike that out. And then we'll take our 1.2. Now 1.2 is the same as 1.20, so you can see it is a little bit less than that number. And we'll strike that out because we've used it. And then that simply just leaves 0.12. Question of the day is, which decimal is greater in value? Is it 0.125 or 0.40? So to answer this, remember to use what you've learned in the video about decimal place value. Give it a try, and when you get your answer, leave it in the comments. Thanks everybody again for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again in the next one.